All right, let's chew on this for a second. What happens when you take an unstoppable force of pure supernatural judgment and you drop it into a universe where the powerful are completely, totally unaccountable? Yeah, we're doing it. Let's dive into the absolute chaos of Ghost Rider versus the corrupt world of The Boys.
You know, that quote really sums up the whole world of The Boys, doesn't it? It's a place where Vought International's so-called heroes get away with literal murder, and the entire system, from the media to the courts, is just a big machine designed to protect them.
So, when a universe gets this soaked in unpunished evil, you have to imagine it sends out some kind of signal, right? It's like a dinner bell for something ancient, something that only exists to balance the scales. A spirit of vengeance is drawn to this world, sensing this critical mass of guilt that just has to be answered for.
And this thing, it doesn't waste a single second. The spirit of vengeance gets right to work. But its first target isn't Homelander. It's not some big shot from the Seven. Nope. It starts with a low-level soup, a guy named Groundhog. It's time to send a message, a terrifying one.
Groundhog, he's arrogance, you know. He's confident in his powers, confident Vought will clean up any mess. He tries to fight back, but his punches, his powers, they're useless. The writer just grabs him, pulls him in close, skull to face, and gives him that one chilling command that means it's all over.
Okay, so this is the real game changer. The pen and stare isn't physical. It doesn't care how tough you are, how strong you are, or what Compound V does for you. It's a direct assault on the soul. It forces the guilty to feel every ounce of pain they've ever inflicted on others, not like a bad memory, but like it's happening to them right now for the first time.
And the scale of this judgment, it's just insane. Groundhog is forced to relive 37 separate murders, but he's seeing it all from his victim's point of view. He feels every punch, every second of terror, every last stolen breath.
And if you thought that was bad, it gets so much worse. He is also forced to experience the 16 rapes he committed, feeling all the violation and the horror, lighting up his own nervous system. In just a few seconds, his mind is completely shattered. He's left alive, sure, but he's trapped in a nightmare loop of the suffering he created.
So you can imagine the panic back at Vought Tower. The crisis team is scrambling, and their analysis tells a story they do not want to hear. 1, all the targets are connected to Vought. 2, the victims are left in a catatonic state, not physically hurt. And 3, the really scary part, this thing just ignores physics. Bullets, walls, nothing stops it. They realize pretty quick this isn't some new soup, not a new version of Compound V. This is something else entirely, something supernatural, and they are way out of their league.
So, the writer decides to stop messing around with the small fry. The confrontation escalates and fast. It doesn't bother with security checkpoints or reinforced doors. It just bypasses trillions of dollars in Vought security and appears right inside Vought Tower, right in front of the Seven.
And this is the moment they realize how utterly pointless their powers are. Homelander unleashes his heat vision. The writer just absorbs it, like it's a snack. Starlight's energy blasts? Same deal, just consumes them. A-Train tries to blitz in with super speed and just phases right through him, slamming into a wall. Queen Maeve throws a punch with all her might. It does absolutely nothing. Their godlike powers, the very thing that makes them untouchable, mean nothing to a truly supernatural force.
And then comes the moment that completely breaks their world. Ghost Rider points a bony finger right at Homelander. The most powerful, most feared being on the entire planet is caught in the Rider's chain, and he is rendered completely and utterly helpless. All his strength, his flight, his heat vision, all of it useless.
And then, the penance stare hits him. And this isn't some vague feeling of guilt. Oh no, this is brutally specific. He relives Flight 37 through the terrified eyes of every single passenger he let die. He experiences Madeline Stillwell's murder from her perspective. He feels the violation of Becca Butcher, the horror of Translucent being blown up from the inside. Every single life he ever casually threw away comes flooding back, shattering his ego, crushing his narcissism, and leaving him totally and completely broke.
You know, what's really interesting is that the judgment isn't one size fits all. Homelander is left a shattered, sobbing mess. The Deep and A-Train, who never showed a hint of real remorse, they get to stare, and they're left catatonic. But Queen Maeve and Starlight, they're spared. The writer sees their guilt, yeah, but it also sees the conflict inside them, a spark of genuine remorse. It sees potential, so it gives them a choice. Keep playing the game or burn it all down. And they both choose to fight.
So the superpowered puppets are down. What's next? Well, the spirit of vengeance turns its fiery gaze to the real power, the corporate suits in the boardroom, the puppeteers who created these monsters in the first place.
The writer confronts the CEO himself, Stan Edgar, a man who prides himself on being cold and logical. And the writer delivers maybe the most chilling verdict of all. It tells him Homelander is a rabid dog, a psychopath. But Edgar, he understands right and wrong. He understands suffering. He just sees it as a cost of doing business. And to the writer, that calculated, emotionless evil is far, far worse.
But then we get to Ashley Barrett, the frantic PR executive who spends her life burying Vought's crimes, and things play out a little differently. The writer confronts her and she just breaks. She confesses everything, fully expecting to be judged. But instead, she gets a choice. Face the penance stare or leak every dirty secret and become the whistleblower that dismantles the entire system. And she chooses redemption.
And that one choice, it brings the whole house of cards crashing down. With its gods broken, its CEO judged, and Ashley leaking every single secret file she has, the Vought empire just implodes. Federal investigations, criminal charges, the whole thing collapses from the inside out.
So Vought is gone. But what does that actually mean for the rest of the world? This wasn't just about one bad company. This event fundamentally scarred the entire planet.
Now, here's a crucial point. The writer isn't just here for Vought. Nobody gets a free pass. It confronts Billy Butcher and his crew, and it forces them to look in the mirror, to see that their violent crusade, their acceptable losses, their own trail of bodies, it's made them into monsters too. And they get the same choice. Change your path or you will be judged.
And before it vanishes, the spirit of vengeance leaves a message for the entire planet, broadcast on every screen on every device. A final, terrifying promise. If you try to rebuild this system of evil, I will be back. Because judgment never, ever sleeps.
So, where does that leave us? Look, Ghost Rider didn't magically fix the world. He just burned away the cancer to give it a chance to heal on its own. But that's the real question, isn't it? After an absolute, supernatural fire has come and gone, can a world that was so corrupt, right down to its bones, ever truly be cleansed? Or is it doomed to just grow back the same way?